Tonight, we're hearing from the OU student who took her 0 grade to the governor. Samantha Fulnecky is a psychology junior who says she received a 0 grade for citing the Bible in her opinion-based essay on gender binary labels. Fox 25's Rob Hagan live at the OU campus with more on the paper that's grabbed the nation's attention. Rob, what have you found out in your conversations today?
Adam, Samantha says that she's been receiving hate comments on social media for citing God as a source in her essay, but she's staying strong. And this is her story. It's the 650-word essay on gender binaries for a 2000-level psych class at OU based on opinion, which received a 0 grade for bringing God into the discussion. Now, the pre-med student who brought her paper to the governor sharing what she's learned.
My main goal in this is to encourage other Christians to stand up for their beliefs.
Samantha Fulnecky says she received a perfect grade on every assignment in the online course she says is taught by 2 teaching assistants until this one.
I didn't know that the TA was transgender or about his personal beliefs or anything like that. I just did the assignments and turned them in and went about my day. So there hadn't been any tension in the past until we were asked to do an assignment over this topic.
She says school administration decided not to change the 0 on the assignment, but it won't be counted towards her final grade. Now the student who's Comanche, hoping to be a pediatrician in a Native American hospital, is receiving both praise and hate from the masses.
A lot of people have taken things from the Bible and twisted it against me. And just saying things about like how I'm going to hell and my judgment will await me one day.
Fulnecky has caught the attention of the national spotlight and the attention of the Oklahoma Freedom Caucus.
It's about a state-funded, taxpayer-funded institution allowing their faculty members to abridge or impede a student's right to express their faith.
The teaching assistant says Fulnecky did not provide empirical evidence to back her claims using a proven psychological scientific methodology. Now the TA is put on paid administrative leave, and Fulnecky says they will not grade her work in the future.
I pointed out that I didn't say anywhere that I needed evidence, and his response was, no, that's the grade you deserve.
Now, State Senator Shane Jett is demanding a meeting with the OU president for what he calls a war on faith on this campus. And as for Samantha, she's going to be a guest speaker tomorrow at the Oklahoma History Center, along with former State Superintendent Ryan Walters. Live at the OU campus in Norman, Rob Hagan, Fox 25 News.
A student at the University of Oklahoma raising concerns after receiving a 0 for a psychology essay. Fox 25's Paige Taylor been digging into this, has more for us now. Paige, have you heard from the university about this?
Yes, we have, Adam. In a statement from the university, they say they received notice from the student upon the grading of that assignment and have begun a full review of the situation.
A psychology course essay written by an OU student is in the spotlight after the student received a 0. According to the OU chapter of Turning Point USA, the 650-word essay was written by Samantha Fulnecky for an assignment about how people are perceived based on society's expectations of gender roles. Fulnecky was also graded on a discussion post. According to TPUSA OU, Fulnecky cited the Bible throughout her essay to support her claims that eliminating gender in society would be, quote, detrimental because that would put people, quote, farther from God's original plan for humans. Fulnecky reached out to Turning Point USA chapter faculty advisor Gary Barksdale for help.
So in that email, she sent it to me and many others and had voiced her concerns in that email about being unjustly graded by her psychology instructor. So it was for a 2000 level psychology class. And so I read through all of that stuff, and I did respond to her, letting her know that, that I would have written the paper a little bit differently.
Barksdale walked us through the grading criteria for the reaction paper. 10
points was appointed if the student had tied this back to the assigned article, and then the student assessed whether the student has read the assigned article. Well, I would argue that the student didn't deserve a 0 for that because she at least partway met And Mel states, does the article provide a reaction, reflection, discussion of some aspect of the article rather than a summary? I would contend that the student met that criteria more than 50%.
Barksdale says the clarity of writing aspect of the criteria is where he personally would be a little more critical. He says while he himself wouldn't have given the paper an A, it did not deserve a 0.
This paper was soliciting her feelings. This paper was soliciting her reaction. This paper was soliciting her discussion on this topic. So I feel that the instructor was completely unjust in giving the student a 0. This paper did not earn a 0 grade. And I feel that this 0 was a punitive grade based on the instructor's insertion of her own or his, however they identify, own personal feelings in this.
The university says the instructor has been placed on administrative leave pending the finalization of the review process underway. Reporting live in studio, Paige Taylor, Fox 25 News.
The OU student who wrote the essay sparking controversy nationwide was in Oklahoma City today speaking at a luncheon. Fox 25's Paige Taylor joins us live with what they had to say. Paige, you were there. Fill us in.
Well, Adam, this was a luncheon hosted by the Political Foundation Original Constitution Principles Affecting Culture. We heard from Samantha Fulnecky, the student who wrote the paper, state legislators, and former state superintendent Ryan Walters. It's a widely debated topic. Did OU student Samantha Fulnecky deserve the 0 she received on a reaction paper for a psychology class? The paper was a reaction to an article about gender roles in society. She says she has received 100s on all her other papers for the class this semester.
And I write them all the same, all the exact same. The TA has never had a problem with how I write my papers in this class, so it has nothing to do with title or grammar or how I write or anything like that. It has to do with me talking about God in it and my stance on gender.
Fulnecky received support on Wednesday at a luncheon, including virtually from former state superintendent Ryan Walters.
I know my friend Samantha is there. What a rock star she is. What an absolute American hero, standing up for her Christian faith against these radical leftists that continue to try to force wokeism on this next generation.
But not everyone disagrees with the grade she was given.
I believe this situation was very poorly handled by Samantha herself. I don't believe this is religious persecution at all, but rather academic accountability.
My first reaction was kind of that she wasn't under religious discrimination. I felt like the essay didn't even provide in-text citations to prove her opinion. And I just think that if I turned in the same assignment, I would have received a 0 as well.
And there is a march planned for Friday at noon here at OU in support of the teaching assistant who graded the assignment and who is currently on administrative leave. Reporting live at OU, Paige Taylor, Fox 25 News.
Now tonight, the Freedom from Religion Foundation is weighing in on the recent essay incident at OU involving a student and a graduate assistant instructor. Fox 25's Grant Palmer joining us live in studio. So Grant, you spoke with the foundation. What they have to say?
Yeah, Adam, the foundation wrote a letter to OU yesterday calling for the instructor to be reinstated as they believe the student's claim of religious discrimination is unfounded. As the 0 grade that a student received on a psychology essay continues to be a hot topic nationally,
It has to do with me talking about God in it and my stance on gender.
the Freedom from Religion Foundation is now throwing its hat into the ring, demanding the University of Oklahoma reinstate the instructor who has since been put on leave.
And we want the university to just affirm that academic standards will not be overridden by religious or political pressure. You know, we want to know that students can feel that the university will choose the academic rigor and academic standards over giving in to, say, the sort of media storm.
The foundation also argues Fulnecky didn't complete the assignment, which was to respond to an article about how people are perceived based on societal expectations of gender.
Instead, she wrote an essay that reads more like a sermon, just talking about her own personal religious beliefs. She refers to the idea that there are multiple genders as demonic. She ends her essay talking about her prayer for the world.
The organization is also concerned that the university's action to suspend the instructor is already setting a bad precedent.
The fact that Oklahoma has taken this so seriously actually is kind of pro religion, and is a step too far for what a public university, which needs to respect religious neutrality, should be doing.
Now, I reached out to the university for an update on the instructor's status and was told the instructor still remains on administrative leave pending a review of the allegations. Reporting in studio, Grant Palmer, Fox 25 News.
Happening in just a few hours, a controversial grade dispute at the University of Oklahoma is sparking a public response today. Students are planning to protest after a graduate instructor was removed from the classroom.
Good Day Oklahoma's Chloe Budamus is live at OU right now with the very latest. Good morning, Chloe.
Hi, Wayne and Shelby. Good morning. Yeah, OU students are planning a protest later today in response to the university's decision to suspend and put on administrative leave the graduate instructor, Mel Kurth. This all comes from a grade that was disputed and received national recognition from a student's grade on a psychology essay. Students are planning to march from the student union to the South Oval, calling for Kurth to be reinstated. This all started from junior Samantha Fulnecky's assignment for a psychology class, a complaint she filed with the administration. That complaint went viral after OU's chapter of Turning Point USA posted about it on X, further amplifying the situation. The Freedom from Religion Foundation has now weighed in as well, demanding the university return Kurth to the classroom. In a statement this week, OU said it remains firmly committed to fairness, respect, and protecting every student's right to express sincerely held religious beliefs. However, the university has not publicly commented on today's protest. We are going to keep you updated as the morning unfolds here. Live from OU, I'm Chloe Budamus for Good Day Oklahoma.